Every time there's a competition that involves Asian weightlifters, a lot of you comment saying, where is North Korea? And for good reason. They haven't actually competed now since 2019, and they're one of the best teams in the world. They currently hold 5 world records. That's the second most behind China. At the 2019 World Championships, they walked away with 7 gold medals, 12 silver medals, 5 bronze medals. They came second behind China. So I'm going to explain to you what happened, where they've gone, and why we might not see them again. And then I'm going to go through some of my favorite weightlifters from North Korea, plus a few lifts from them, hopefully playing over the top while you see this. So an article from Brian Oliver at Inside the Games, exclusive: North Korea's weightlifters miss first Paris 2024 qualifier after doping rule change. So there's a little bit of indecision, or kind of we don't know as to why they're missing this. It could be to do with the doping change, or it could be to do with a decision that they made prior. I actually think it's a decision that they made prior, but we don't necessarily know. So let's take a look at what this rule change is, which would have probably excluded North Korea anyway. So Antonio Urso, General Secretary of the IWF, said the following: when the executive board agreed in principle last week to exclude countries where it is not possible to conduct free anti-doping controls, it was a historical change of direction in our fight against doping. All countries with blocked borders will be out, not just from qualifying competitions for Paris, but from any international event. So essentially, athletes must let testers into their country at any given notice for testing. Simultaneously, the kind of whereabouts rules have changed. So now athletes must let testers know where they are 3 months before a competition rather than 2. As I said, at the moment we have no information from North Korea. So obviously, if you want to go and test someone in the UK or in France or in Georgia or even in China or wherever, you can go into that country. Maybe WADA has to get visas, I don't know, but you can get in. There's no getting into North Korea. From what I'm told about travel into North Korea, the access is not so great. So because of that, they cannot be tested, and therefore they're not allowed to continue in the qualifying procedure for Paris. The reason is because Paris has said so clearly, and by Paris I mean the IOC, they've said so clearly that unless weightlifting cleans up its act to some degree, we're not going to get into the Olympic Games. And so we now, in response to that pressure from the IOC, have to make sure that our qualifying procedure allows for cleaner athletes to go to the Olympic Games. Now, it's worth remembering that Urso said that he hadn't yet heard anything from North Korea. But from what I know, North Korea had already withdrawn from competing. I actually listened to a podcast, I think it was the ATG podcast, and Nat from Hook Grip was talking with Gregor, and Nat knows a lot about the North Korean athletes because he's been around for quite a while internationally at these competitions. He said that he heard that every single athlete had been officially sort of retired from the sport. You've got to acknowledge to the IWF that, you've got to tell them who your athletes are and who aren't, and they withdrew everybody prior to this rule even going forward. So I think they just withdrew the entire team. So the country missed the delayed Tokyo 2020 Games because of a self-imposed travel ban during the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of course the qualifying procedure did have to change, and it did change for a lot of athletes because of the pandemic, but it changed in a way that allowed countries to kind of negotiate their national rules, the international rules of travel, but they decided in North Korea that they just weren't going to have any inclusion in it. It's odd because weightlifting is the biggest sport in terms of Olympic medals for North Korea. And so if they want to use the Olympics, how many other countries do, and exert their dominance over other countries in a non-aggressive way, weightlifting was a great way to do it. But yeah, they didn't, which is a shame because we're going to miss out on a lot of incredible athletes. Let's take a look at some of those now. These are my favorites. So of course we've got Yun-chol, 55 kilo weightlifter, was a 56, holds the world record in the clean and jerk at 166 kilos. It's over 3 times body weight. He hit 294 kilos in the total in 2019. Now, he is a 5-time world champion. He's a 2012 Olympic champion, as a 2-time Asian Games champion. He's had 6 world records. 7 times he's gone over triple body weight in the clean and jerk, which is just remarkable. I think he's one of 6 or 7 people to have ever even done it. Just one of the best lightweights, super lightweights, whatever you call them, of all time. Then, of course, a guy that we reference all the time because he still holds a world record in the clean and jerk, Pak Jong-ju, the 67 kilo weightlifter. 188 kilos he hit at the 2019 World Championships. Somehow he placed third, despite having set a world record clean and jerk. But that is still yet to be beaten. You know, Chen Li-jun has tried it a bunch of times. A bunch of weightlifters have gotten close, pushed up towards the 180s, but Pak Jong-ju still has that clean and jerk record. There's lifters like Oh Kang-chol. And then on the women's side, Rim Jong-sim, one of the greatest weightlifters ever. As a 76, she currently holds the snatch world record at 124 kilos, 278 kilo world record total. She's the two-time Olympic champion, 2012, 2016. She's a four-time world medalist. Ridiculously good lifter. There's Kim Young-ju, who's, 128 snatch, a 264 kilo snatch a 264 kilo total world record that she did as a 75 kilo lifter back in 2014. As a 75 kilo lifter, she went 128, 164. 128, 164 would have won the world championships in the super heavyweight category last year. She did it as a 75. There's Kim Kuk-yang, the plus 87 kilo lifter, who again was a phenomenal lighter super, 131 snatch, 175 clean and jerk. Again, that's more than anyone is currently lifting in the supers behind Lee Wen-won. So just phenomenal team of athletes. Very sad that they're not going to be at the Olympic Games. Was it because they decided to withdraw and retire their athletes in advance of seeing any of these rules because they just didn't want to have any part in weightlifting anymore? Or was it because the IWF changed the rules about letting WADA in through the borders? We don't know, but what we do know is North Korea is out of weightlifting.